Hi folks, I'm Will Bridges from 123 Trade, and in this week's trading session we did technical analysis and fundamental analysis on Bitcoin, silver, oil, multiple Forex pairs. We looked at multiple dollar pairs, multiple Great British Pound, GBP pairs. So we broke this video up into chapters. So if you want to watch something specific, you can see that, whatever the chapter is, if you drag along the bar of time below me here, or if you click the show more section below, everything is broken out, spelled out. If you want to see something specific from the session, jump around, see what trade ideas that we had in there, then by all means, that is the way to do it. Do need to show you the risk disclaimer. You do have to risk it to get the biscuit, folks. Everything in this trading session, this video here, all this is for educational purpose only. You guys do with the information what you think is best. But you cannot control the market. You can only control your risk. Again, I'm Will Bridges from 123 Trade. Enjoy the trading session. Thank you. We're going to cover oil in this presentation. We're going to cover silver. We're going to cover Forex pairs. We're going to do lots of technical analysis. I don't want to leave anybody behind in this presentation. It looks like there's a lot of new names in here this week. So by all means, yes, silver is already moving, Philip. I think there's a big opportunity on Bitcoin as well. We put out a lot of videos this week, and we can cover Bitcoin, Nathan. So you will want to stay tuned. We're going to cover really pretty much every asset class here today. I don't think, well, let's just say a lot of people trade a lot of things, but usually people are, I only trade cryptos or I only trade this. I'm going to show you everything under the sun here today, folks. So let's have some fun. I want to make sure I don't run anybody over. I want this to be a trading session, analysis session. I want to teach a lot of technical analysis in here, but I also want to make sure that I don't run anybody over. If you guys can, give me a quick idea of everyone's skill level. I know there's a lot of new faces in the room today. Just from 1 to 10, if you could type in the chat box for me. 1 if you're brand new to trading. 10 if you are the Michael Jordan of trading, the greatest to ever grace the earth, the absolute best. That's what a 10 is. Appreciate that. Thanks, Verena. Thanks, Nathan. I'll get the Discord link and the Facebook link up here in a second, because I know we're going to be posting videos in there. We're going to be posting pretty much, well, everything's going to be on YouTube first. So if you guys haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel yet, okay, I'll go ahead and pull that up. While we're on this topic of where to follow things, yes, I am going to post things in social media, but at the very least, the first place it's going to be, and everything we put out is going to be time sensitive. That is going to be on YouTube. And just looking at the room, it looks like we've got we've got a lot of people that have been in here for a little while. We've got lots of 5s and 6s in here, lots of 2s, lots of 5s. All right, cool. So we got a relatively intermediate group in here today, which is neat. That means we can have a lot of fun. I'm going to pull up the YouTube channel here real quick. And I just want to show you guys, we've got lots of videos that have been coming out recently here. Okay, so we put out 4 or 5 of them this week. If you guys have not already, you need to come check out one of these videos. I had somebody asked me for Bitcoin in here earlier. And I'm going to go ahead and share the link to this Bitcoin video that I put out, I think, yesterday. But I'll put this in the chat box. And there's going to be more of these. I've got, let's just say, plenty to talk about. If you guys have turned on the TV at all for the last year and a half, then you guys have been following along with a lot of different things. But I talk about debt in here, inflation. There's a ton of different stuff on here. And if you want to get immediate stuff, there, where it says analytics and edit video here, I'm signed in. This will say, subscribe, and then you click that little bell. That way you'll get notifications. Otherwise, we do post things in the Discord server as well. And that will be, I'll pull that up. This is what that looks like. You can download this on your computer, or you can go to the web-based version, or you can have an app on your phone. And all of those things are free. And here comes the link. I'll put that in the chat box for you guys. Also, all those things are free. A lot of people like to get notifications from Discord because Facebook sends a heck of a lot more than anything else. But if you already have Facebook, you already get alerts. We've got this channel here too. And actually, let's get over to the actual channel itself so I can share the link with you guys. But this is where I'm going to be posting the trading ideas, all that stuff that we come up with in this room. That stuff will all be in here. It's where I put all the videos as well, so there's somewhat of an archive in here. But really, if you're looking for a video archive, then the best place to go is really our website at this point. There's the Facebook link for the group. So if you're not a part of the groups, you're going to want to join those because I blog in there about a lot of different things. There's a lot of different trade ideas. I'll put things out during the week that I may or may not cover in this room. But we've made a lot of changes to the website here recently. And one of the biggest ones that I wanted them to make, I wanted to make the website a resource. Okay, so there's the Getting Started Trading page. If you haven't seen that yet, we run through really the steps of, making yourself, creating good habits and tracking your results, understanding how to use charting softwares, all that type of stuff is on this Getting Started page. YouTube is going to have a lot of those videos as well. It's just not organized the same. I'm actually looking to upgrade this page sometime in the next couple of days, actually, so I can make this more organized. But all of the new videos are down here at the bottom. Okay, so if you guys want to check out latest releases, all the releases, everything we're talking about, there's lots of videos in here. And if you click this little arrow here, there's actually more. But all the trading sessions we do, all that stuff is going to be on this page. Obviously, if you want to see it live, you got to show up. That's pretty much how that works. But let's get all this stuff out of the way. And let's get to the meat and potatoes. If you guys do have something in specific that you want to see, then if we have time, I'm more than happy. If not, then I do recommend, if you have something that you want to see specifically, please let me know before the session starts in either the Facebook group or comment on this video in the YouTube channel. A lot of people are going to watch the recording for this. So comment there. It's the easiest place for me to know. And usually there'll be a lot of other people that have similar questions. You might actually get your question answered on YouTube. There's a lot of people that watch stuff that want to flex their muscles and show how smart they are. Some of you might, if you're brand new, you may not even know how you got invited to this, because you may have just signed up on the internet and didn't realize that these trading sessions even happened. Okay, so for those people, okay, 123 Trade is an introducing broker. Our whole purpose in life is to make sure that people have regulated, secure brokerage that they can trust. Okay, we want to provide guidance and mentorship and make sure you know how to use the tools at your disposal. And also, really, that you know how to execute. You're confident. Okay, so if you don't understand something, it's usually a reason to be afraid of it. And we want to kind of get rid of that fear and allow you guys to make more comfortable decisions. I want you guys to know how to do all the things I wish I knew right when I started. Okay, so there's a lot of access to trading room software. We're going to do weekly analysis in here. We used to cover all of these things on this list here today: placing your first trade, trading from your mobile, cell phone, or tablet, smart trader ideas, all that stuff. There are videos already on go to the website, 123trade.com/YouTube. All that stuff is there. I don't think it makes sense for us to go through all that stuff every week. And I think a lot of you might agree with me. Young Will pick still on. Yes. Young 25-year-old Will is still in that pick, and young 33-year-old Will is, I guess I still look the same. You guys have seen plenty of the videos. I don't see a difference. I'm back to the same weight. But let's get the charts on here. Okay, and I want to pull up a few things here. We've actually, before we get too deep in this, I know we talk a lot about tracking results, and I want to show you guys, we put out predictions, all that stuff fairly frequently. Our CAD predictions started off kind of rough. We were looking for 3,000 pips total. Currently, our count is up here around 1,000, 1,048 pips. Okay, profit factor of 2. Win rate, I'm not crazy disappointed. I could be happier. But generally, we've been on a little bit of a run here lately. Things have been going our way. And it seems like, we're getting into a little bit of a groove. Okay, so I just want to make sure everybody's up to date on where we are. We've got lots of trades running right now. Okay, I'm going to get more real estate, get this stuff out of our way, make this full screen. I'm going to pull up some of what we've got active and make sure that, there's nothing drastic that I want to change. Okay, so I did put in a pending order here earlier so that I could set up the MyFX book that I just showed you guys. You guys, I don't know if you see it anymore. I already deleted it, but the comment is gone. Okay, so This is our NZDUSD. Actually, I've got smart analytics on here. I'm going to dump that. This looks like it's kind of making a little bit of a sideways play here. We're still very much within our plan on this trade. It hasn't really done anything. You know, we're down, 95 pips. I'm not super concerned about that. Our stop loss is far away. If you're not already in this trade, it may be a better opportunity now, but I want to get into a lower time frame here and take a look at what might be happening from a standpoint of trend direction. And a lot of people are going to look at this and see a crown. I think it may be a false crown. Let's get a trend line on the bottom side here, see what we got. Okay, so this would be the breakout crown formation that people fall in love with. There's actually a new low that occurred here. So really, we're just breaking this trend line now. And the interesting thing about this, a lot of people want to trade trend lines that, this market's going to be, rock bottom, it's coming down. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Viraj, if you guys want to see the FX book, you can go to, if you go to myfxbook.com, you just type in 123 trade, you're going to find all of ours in there. But yeah, otherwise, the trend here, okay, this has been relatively confusing for people for a long time. This was the trend initially. We broke that. The market went down a little bit, came back up a lot more. We broke this one too. The market didn't really make a big fall. It continued its long-term uptrend. And then this became the trend. And, that didn't really stay that way either. And then this became the trend. And we fell for just a very short period of time. And then we went back up. And then this, and then this, and then this. And you guys get the point, is that this thing seems to want to keep on creeping up. So I'm not going to look for places to get out of this trade. If anything, I may look for another place to enter it, just in case it does come down further against me. And I'm going to keep my same target that I've got because we haven't broken out of this range. And to show you guys how we got this target to begin with, this was a quick ABCD button up here, this Fibonacci pattern button. So I'm going to click the bottom of this trend with that tool on, and I think we actually got this from maybe the higher time frame. This might be from the weekly. It is. Okay, so this is from the weekly time frame. So this is very much a swing position trade. Overall, this could take, a couple of months to develop. Not everybody's going to wait that long. What I might do in a situation like this, okay, I did mention that I may look for, a lower order price. You could set a pending here, or you could turn on a robot. And situation like this, let's see, what do I want to use? Maybe let's check out our perfect storm. Okay, and I like the range active. This thing's been pretty sideways anyways for the last few weeks, so I don't want it to do anything but look for buys because I'm bullish on this, and I have been for the last 6 months. Obviously, I know that it isn't going to come up all the time, but I want this robot to sit and wait for when it thinks is a good time to buy. I don't want it to look for sells. And, my lot type, this is really the most important thing. Fixed, risk percent, whatever. Okay, that's up to you. Fixed means they're all going to be the same size. Risk percent, what that means is that it's going to risk a specific percentage of your account. So if you can't figure out how to do good equity management and not overtrade your account, risk percent might be good for you because now it's going to force me to risk 1% per open. I can set max positions to whatever I want. If I'm concerned about risking 3%, I might risk on only 2 trades, or I might make this a 1 here where max positions is here. Because the most important thing with running any system is understanding how much money it's going to put into each trade it places. Because if you don't know that, then you can get in trouble really quickly. And, net pips, close on net pips. So if this thing opens up, say for example, 2 positions and it hits 150 pips, it wants to close me out. And I'm cool with that. So I'm going to have it open up 2 positions. I'm going to risk 1% per. I'm going to try to get out on 150 net pips. Now I'm going to click apply and start. Actually, I need to get off of this 1 week chart. I made a mistake there, folks. This is going to make a trade every couple of months if I do that. What I need to do first, sorry, I got a little ahead of myself. I'm going to keep the settings the same, but I'm going to bump down to my hour chart because that makes a lot more sense for my robot because it is definitely not built for a weekly time frame. But let's get perfect storm on here again. Perfect storm range active. There we go. Play. Visualization, uncheck the sell button. I want risk percent and 2 trades. 150 net pips. Apply and start. There we go. And now I can't change the time frame. I can't change the currency cross on this chart at all. I need to leave this as is. Otherwise, the robot will stop running. If I turn off my computer, the same thing is the case. So I'll go ahead and delete all the other stuff we've got here. Okay, this thing is at the bottom of our Donkeyan channel in our Perfect Storm tool. This thing has been going sideways. It's going to look for more places to enter. I don't have to do anything now. I'm just going to leave this. I'm going to get off of this chart, and I'm going to go look at a different one. Okay, so I'm done with the NZDUSD, and let's get into something similar. Let's take a quick look at the Aussie USD. Very much the same thing. I could literally do the exact same process immediately. I mean, this is kind of the same exact trend. I already showed you guys this uptrend line here. Okay, this is broken a bunch of times. Okay, I really think this is the new trend because we've got a true low that occurred right here, and this is actually a bullish piercing line formation. And I was going to go ahead and circle this here. This is a true low because we've got two candles to the left and two to the right. Both of them, all of them are higher. We got a lot more actually to the left and right. It does look like this might actually be a better trade than our NZD because we've already fulfilled this demand zone, this price pocket that happened below here. You guys can see that. The market came back down and tested that, and it was a hot stove. It decided to take a big jump off of that immediately. I'm expecting this could go sideways for a few more days. I think we've actually got some announcements I might want to pull up and show you guys real quick. Let's go to Forex Factory. See what's going on next week, see if we've got anything big on the dollar. I'm fairly certain we've got FOMC next week. And if you guys aren't familiar with what FOMC is, it's the Federal Open Market Committee here in the United States. They're the people that decide how much money is worth. And really the value of money comes down to interest rates and what they say about interest rates. So US FOMC statement comes out next week. There's a video that we put out on YouTube already to talk about inflation. Please let us know supply and demand. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That news is going to shake everything. Okay, so if Jerome Powell comes out next week and says that the Fed's going to raise interest rates this year, then that is an absolute huge deal. Right now, the anticipation is that they're not going to change the rate. What I think is happening, and this is what I covered in that inflation video that's on YouTube, I think I put it out on Tuesday, okay? I think that Janet Yellen is trying to scare people to slow down the fall of the dollar. I think that Jerome Powell is kind of probably telling what needs to happen. Wait until 2023, because if we raise rates, markets are going to get hurt like crazy. People's 401ks are going to fall to pieces, and people will be very upset, especially if we also raise taxes in the U.S. this year on businesses. It will be the biggest market crash you've ever seen if we do both of those things at the same time. So, that being the case, okay, I really, really think that we may see more sideways movement. Okay, retail sales in the U.S., this is another big announcement. This is expected to be bad news. Okay, so I think that we're going to be bearish on the dollar next week from a fundamental standpoint. And, well, this PPI number looks actually fairly high. If we want to see what these historical numbers are, okay, so this is another measure of inflation, just to show you guys what these numbers normally are. Okay, this 0.5% that's expected is one of the highest numbers in a really long time. These numbers this year, this 1.2%, these inflation numbers are crazy high. Okay, so that's something that really puts a lot of pressure on the Federal Reserve. That's why they're talking about, raising interest rates would be good, because they want to curb this inflation that's happening. They need to increase the future value of money so that people hold on to it more. However, they also need retail sales to increase and for people to spend money. So it's a catch-22 situation. That's why people talk about crashes happening, because there's no good decision for the government to make. So they're going to, keep people confused, hope they can't figure it out, and the market will go sideways. Okay, that's really, I think, what their play is right now. Okay, so I think this market comes up a heck of a lot more. I'm going to go ahead and turn on a different automation for this one. Let's get down to our 1-hour chart. And this is one of my favorites. I think probably, I'm not the only one in that, but I'll go ahead and show you guys the Right Trader Max. I'm going to hit play. Trade direction, I want buys only. Oop. Okay. buy above price level. I don't necessarily need to fill in all this stuff. Okay, max trades 3 risk percent. Let's see, fixed lot size, ATR. I'm going to leave most of this stuff actually as is because, well, some smart traders put this stuff together and I don't have to do anything. Apply and start. Okay, so now this thing's going to crank on. It's going to look for places that it wants to buy. And, you know, hey, it might be pretty close to doing that here in the near future. Now all I need to do is move on to a new chart. I'm going to let that get managed. Crude oil seems to be doing what we wanted. I might as well get to that now. I'll get back to some more Forex pairs here in a moment. Let's get a new chart. I don't want to shut off either of my robots. I'm going to go ahead and turn on US oil. And this has been a really fun one for oil this past year. I'll go ahead and open the all-time frame here first on oil. Blow this chart up. Okay. And this thing is, you know, a rocket, to say the least. I want to get rid of my order window below here. Hey, whatever, it doesn't matter. Let's just crunch this thing down. Okay, this is the all-time frame. I'm looking at everything back to 1990 right now. I'm going to just crunch this thing down. I like to make a lot of jokes and say things like, I want the whole world in my hands so that people will think about things and go look at the high time frame because that's really where I get most of my inspiration. Okay, so if I want to know what's going on, long-term trend, here was the biggest trend that I can find on this chart, and that broke a few months ago, and we've closed above it. That's the important part, is that we have closed bullish monthly candles above. We're over $70. I don't know if you guys realize we haven't been, well, this price, we haven't seen this price in a long time. Since the beginning of the Trump administration. Okay, so we busted those two highs. We could be making much higher highs. I'm looking much further for oil. I think $80 is still the target for Goldman Sachs. I think we might have a little bit of a holiday. We may take a little bit of a break here soon. So, hey, I might take some profit on one of these just to feel good about it. We're still in. I'm going to close half the profit just because we're at our monthly extension level. I think this thing might take a little bit of a dip, and we may have an opportunity to get in again at a lower price. Okay, so that's our target on the monthly. Let's get down to the weekly. I think this is somewhere around $89. Okay, so no reason why we can't get there. I'm going to go ahead and draw a horizontal line from this target. I'll make this green. Okay, this is oh, hold on. Got an extra line here. I'll use that other one in a second. Okay, but there's our 89 line. And the reason I like that one, and actually both of these lines, that arbitrary one I've got there is pretty awesome too. Let's go down to the daily, okay? But I want to get both of these lines set up so you guys can see really what I'm looking at for price targets, because I think the market is going to go up a lot. It's just not going to do that constantly. And we like to make jokes, never wrong, just early. Okay, here's our extension on the lower time frame. This is the daily chart that we're looking at now. This is Goldman Sachs' $80 target. That's what they are looking at. Okay, so another big reason why they're looking at these prices, I'll come back to the higher time frame so that we can circle some highs and lows. The market likes familiar prices, and that's really it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show where both of these targets are over time and what that's meant to the market. We had, well, let's just say the market took a little bit of a break here when we hit this lower price. Right here was, well, very important for quite some time. You guys can see lots of action on this price for years, okay? For years. We have not made it back up there recently. That's probably, this lower green line is probably where we test first. That's what Goldman is looking at. After we do that, there's really no reason on earth why we shouldn't test this price that was really important there for some reason. Same thing on the way down. We had more action on it over here, here. You know, this is a year by year by year. This has just been a price the market likes to gravitate towards. Since oil is going up and up, won't it be bad news for overall market? Typically, I would say yes. I'm not really happy about oil going up, but you know, the reality of it is oil goes up for two reasons. One of them is supply going down, and the other is demand going up. And right now, demand is increasing while they're also kind of slowing down demand, or excuse me, demand is increasing as we open up the world and get rid of all these lockdowns. Supply is actually getting a little bit of a bottleneck right now because, well, apparently Russian hackers have been ransomwaring people in the US, and we've been shutting down pipelines every chance we get ever since we elected a new government here. So I'm looking at both of these prices, keen eye. I think that both of these are very possible. Okay, if you are not already in, okay, this is not something that, this looks like a high price for a lot of people. Let's clear out all the other stuff that's here. Okay, and a lot of people are going to look at this and say this is a high price. If you're looking for a place to get in, okay, that really comes down to managing your risk. And I just want to show you guys something quick. Everybody can look at this and see this is an uptrend. Okay, I don't have to write a book on this. This is an uptrend until it's not. I'm going to think that buys are the way to go. Okay, so this thing hasn't made a dip in a little bit here. We are getting a little bit of a curve on this current trend. So there's some traders are going to be real aggressive. Some are going to be sit back a little bit more. I may look for a place the market liked a lot, somewhere like down here. I may look to buy there. Okay, and everybody wants to know, how far is this thing likely to go? I may pull a fib range on here. We haven't quite hit our extension yet. This is where this thing might decide to stop and take a little bit of a break, all the way up at 72 and change. 72.8 seems like a fun price. That's not super far away, considering we started buying this thing somewhere around $60. So I'm going to make that line green above. That might be where we rip the tape on life and decide to stop trading this. Okay, so those of you that want to be real conservative, which is not a bad thing, okay, there might be a pending order opportunity that you could look for on this low side and wait for the market to come down, test these highs, and that might be what you're looking at. That might be the pending opportunity that people want. Okay, when it comes to those of you that, well, you can't stand to wait around, okay, you can keep the same target. If you don't think this thing is coming back down, and it really doesn't matter what you think, it matters if you can manage the risk. Because some of you are going to be a little bit more aggressive on this, and you're going to see this current market price here, and you may want to trade this scalp move all the way up here. Okay, so this is a much nearer term. Okay, if I lose this trade, I can still, if I want to, try to get in at the lower price and protect a lot of my risk in the process. Okay, so that isn't even the only option. Okay, there's actually more. You could actually enter this several times at lower prices. We could have 10 different entries if we wanted to. But reality of the situation, the only thing that matters is if you're managing your risk. Okay, so a trade like this from a 0.01, okay, a minimum lot size, this is about $196 risk for a $224 opportunity. Okay, so some people are going to be very comfortable with that. Some people are not. Okay, you can place trades on oil from the Smart Trader platform. Okay, so immediately when you open it, it says non-tradable instrument. That's because I'm not looking at the instrument that actually exists in AvaTrade's Metatrader 4 instance. It's called something else. So if I want to trade oil, then I need to look for crude oil down here. You can also trade Brent oil from here. Prices are fairly similar, but there's crude oil. If I wanted to buy this right now, I could go ahead and do that. Just type in all the rate values on the market order side over here, and you don't have to go to Metatrader 4. So that is a relatively new thing that I learned. Actually, I didn't know you could do that from here until recently. I've been doing things from Metatrader 4 for years, so I didn't realize that they had added that. But something that you guys should be aware of, you can trade pretty much everything that's in Metatrader 4 from this platform. You just have to select it if it is not something that already pops up. So for example, like if you wanted to look at Nike stock, then you could go and trade that from here as well. You just have to pick this from the drop down. Okay, so let's keep on moving. Oil, okay, like I said, I think the nearest term is $72 and change. And I think after that, $80 or bust. And after that, $89 or bust. And there's a lot of people, options traders are actually looking at 100. We put another video out on oil this week as well, if you guys want to get more details on that. What else haven't we already checked out here? Let's organize our list. Let's get into silver. And silver still looks bearish. I think that there's a big squeeze coming on silver. I think the U.S. Mint is kind of talking out of both sides of their mouth right now when it comes to their supply issues, which, could be scary, could be very profitable for some people. Kind of depends on how scared you are, if you're ready to take the risk, bite the bullet, try to make some money. Okay, so that was our trend for a long time on silver. After the highs that we hit after the crash we had in 2008, you guys all remember George Bush, Ben Bernanke, helicopter money, all that stuff. That's pretty much what drove silver up to, the $50 range that it hit years ago. I don't think it actually hit $50. 32 is a solid target, Tony, and we're going to show everybody here in a second. And actually, that was the target in the video I put out this week, Tony. From there, we've had a couple of different trend changes since the end of that whole rise and fall that we had. Okay, we had this kind of range that existed that we've recently tested, and I think that this thing is headed to the moon, really, more so than anything else on Earth. I think that I am so far from alone in that thought. There couldn't be any more people trying to buy silver right now. I think that from an industrial standpoint, silver's never had the type of demand that it has right now. They haven't figured out some magical way of creating more silver, and consumers are onto that game. I think somewhere around 90% of retail traders are buying silver. So much so that DailyFX stopped sharing how many of IG's clients are trading silver, long or short, because it said 92% up for a very long time. And now they just don't share that information, which I think is kind of interesting, but it's probably so that they can protect their books because that didn't change for months. Okay, so let's get rid of this big green box we don't need anymore. Okay, so we already tested that area. Okay, so we tested that old range on this kind of double bottom that we created here. And this is actually a higher low, and this is an even higher low. Okay, so I think this thing is bullish for days and for weeks, and I think it could be real bullish this weekend. A lot of people have a tendency to buy gold on Saturday, and this market may gap up. It's gapped up several times this year, lots of different bull runs. But like I said, this thing has been moving. Okay, so we've been long on this pretty much all year. We spent some time in the mud, but all we've really done is wait. Okay, so Tony's talking about this $32 target. I think that's pretty evident right here. If I just pull my ABCD tool from the bottom, okay, this 32 line is our extension above. This might be our short-term look, something that could happen this afternoon. Okay, this is not something that's going to take forever. It could very easily happen in a day. It could take it a month. Okay, so that's the thing about trading. That's why I make jokes so much. Never wrong, just early. But the truth of the matter is that's pretty far away. If I get current market price on here, you always want to put that on here so you can have perspective and understand how far away things might be. Because now I need to figure out where I might put a stop loss in. Because if I feel like now is the time, I'm bullish. We did just break this high on the left over here recently. Okay, we had that high that happened all the way back at the beginning of the year, and we broke that high. So I really have no choice in my brain but to be bullish, because we are creating new highs on the daily time frame, and we have been creating new highs and lows on every lower time frame for, well, really since March 29th is when this run started that we're on right now. So as soon as we got to the second quarter, this thing's been on a run, and I think a lot of it, well, inflation has been big, and that's going to be a big deal for things like silver because, well, inflation means that currency is becoming less valuable. So by comparison, silver should be more valuable. There's some really neat tools that debt to supply tool that I showed in the silver video we posted here yesterday. I think you guys should have got that in your email. I think is really neat. I might pull that up here for a second in this presentation, but let's get down to our 2-hour chart and look for a place we may be able to enter, because nearest term, okay, this thing is making a little bit of a fuss at this price. Okay, this is probably the fourth time that we've tried to break this zone and haven't yet been able to do it. But I do think that we could be there soon. This trend line right here could be our canary in the coal mine. That could be where we break it. Okay, and some people like to get real cavalier with trends. This might be what you think it is because it tried to break out of it earlier. The market was trying to tell me a message there. Some people drew it there a long time ago, and they're still in love with that one. And hey, maybe that's a good one, maybe it's not. I think that it really doesn't matter what you think unless you can manage your risk, is really what I think. So our target is way above I want to look for something like a 2-to-1. I'm going to use lots of lows here. Really, I don't think getting it back under $26 is going to happen anytime soon. The market's had a really hard time doing that. You could try to be more cavalier on this thing if you wanted to and reel this in. For those of you that don't want to take a $2 risk on silver, that might be something that people reel in. They do something a little bit more close like this and trade this high that happens. Okay, so there's lots of options available. Okay, you don't necessarily have to take the big trade. You can take a smaller trade, re-enter. You can do all sorts of fun stuff. But that's really only possible if you manage the number that you put in this box properly. Okay, so if you are trading silver, those of you with less than $1,000 in your account, you may not want to trade this at all, unless you're going to scalp it, which, you know, you're going to want to have less pips at risk. So keep that in mind. This is another thing that you do need to hunt on this list and find silver. I think it is just listed as silver if you want to trade this directly from Smart Trader. If you haven't traded any symbols other than Forex pairs, my recommendation is to go to Metatrader 4 to practice with this stuff and figure out how much the risk is on each lot size, because it is very different than Forex. Okay, so all that said, I think you guys get the point. I'm looking at $32 silver in the near term. Yeah, silver is going to have more pips. Really, the most pips from anything that I've seen is actually Bitcoin. I think we closed out, like, let's click the history tab here. Yeah, we closed out a 29,000 pip trade on Bitcoin, which I think is kind of obnoxious. But that move on Bitcoin, I think that we called, and we might as well bring that up here in a second. Open price was 36,698. Close price was 33,774. So we made a 10%, 8-9% call. That's a pretty big move on Bitcoin. That only happened in a couple of days. Actually, that was a few weeks. We have a couple of trades on Bitcoin, it looks like. We've got another one here that was from the 3rd to the 7th that we did 16,000 pips on. So pretty obnoxious with the pip counts when something moves $3,000 in a day all the time. So you got to take the pip counts with a grain of salt. But that said, let's get on to Bitcoin. I know that somebody asked me for this early. I think maybe Trevor. Pay attention. I think it was Nathan maybe. It's time. Here comes Bitcoin. And I think Bitcoin's going to be bullish for a lot of reasons. You know, right now, the ransomware thing happened. I've been making jokes about that. Got to stay positive, you know. People look at terrible things in the world like, oh my gosh, inflation's going to destroy everything. For the people that don't understand how to make money off of it, that's really what the end of that sentence is. When it comes to trading, there is no better thing in the world than inflation. Inflation is going to make everything move. I think there's a picture of a breakfast plate I saw the other day where, the price of, pig futures are up something like 51%, or coffee is up 51%. Orange juice is up 11%. All that stuff is moving, okay? And inflation causes that movement. And that's, what people hate George Soros for. If you can't beat him, then you join him, okay? I want to figure out how Warren Buffett's making his money and how Elon Musk is making his money, because Elon came out and told everybody he was going to accept Bitcoin for Teslas. That took the price all the way down from the $40,000 range up to this $60,000 high up here. Okay, and we put a video out on this yesterday on Bitcoin. So there's more details in there as far as the fundamentals. But El Salvador is actually adopting Bitcoin as legal tender, which is a very big deal. Okay, so what I think is going to happen, at least near term, is that this thing is probably going to come up and try to test range, because one of two things can go on with El Salvador making that move. It could work out great, and it could be the best thing to ever happen to El Salvador. It could also somehow be the worst thing to ever happen to El Salvador. There's really no way to know until it plays out, but I want to know where the heavy price levels are, and I like to use fib ranges with a bunch of data. Yeah. El Salvador is definitely clever to be the first jumping on it, because they're going to get a lot of speculation. If they jump on it first, if the market goes on a run because of them jumping on it, like when the first hedge fund got into Bitcoin, whoever that guy was, I can't remember what his name is, they made a lot of money, to say the least. So El Salvador may do the same thing. I think that there's a range up here that we might hit, and really, I think near term, this could be something that happens this weekend. Okay, this isn't something that I think is going to take forever, but I think if this market moves sideways from the range that we're in now, and we don't even break out, Okay, if we just consolidate, if the market literally just consolidates, I think 47,000, almost 48,000 is, well, not out of the question, okay, by any stretch of the imagination. Because if other countries decide to pile onto this could get really big in a hurry. You know, all those people that talk about $200,000 Bitcoin, all that may happen. Okay, the thing that might hurt it is if, you know, the U.S. government here decides that they can't track Bitcoin anymore because that's too much work. You know, recovering that last ransom was too much work. You know, we shouldn't have to deal with money we can't track. China already made that move. If the U.S. does that, that could be a big problem for Bitcoin. So I'm going to make the conservative play and look for the consolidation move. And hey, if it continues to rise, I might just close out half my position and let the rest of it run. Kind of up to you guys how you guys want to play stuff like this, but you can't go broke taking a profit. Okay, so this might be our bottom down here, and our current market price. I'll go ahead and get a line on here. Actually, let's make that blue. And let's take a quick pick. This could come a little bit higher as well. So a lot of traders, I mentioned that, you know, a lot of people think that where I have the bottom of this range, I think if you look around the marketplace, that's where a lot of people think that the bottom is going to be on this downstroke. And I think a lot of the reason for that is explained technically also. Here's the major low, here's a higher one, and here's a higher one than the major low. So it hasn't been able to break that low. It's already attempted twice. It hasn't gotten close. So people don't want Bitcoin to get under 30,000. That's really what that means to me. And I could probably be a little tighter with my stop loss if I wanted to be. That's kind of a personal choice thing. I don't know. If it's me, I buy again at the lower price if this thing dips. That's really what I would think. That's what I would prefer to do. Something like that is just load up and put in half of my position now if I'm scared and put in the other half later. You know, kind of depends on how you guys want to manage that thought in your brain. But the amount of money that you're risking is the most important thing to understand. If you can't afford to lose this trade before you open it, then don't take it. That's pretty much how it works. Okay, if you don't want to blow out a trading account, that's the thought that you need to have in your brain before you click buy on everything all the time. We're already long, I think, on Bitcoin USD in here. Actually, you know what? We closed out a couple of short trades, those winners from last week. So let's go ahead and load this thing on. Show you guys how this works. And we are at somewhat of a low price here now, but let's go ahead. Market order. I think I'm not sure if it's hashtag BTC or just BTC USD. Let's see. Or hashtag Bitcoin. Let's see here. Brent crude. If you guys see this and I run right past it, then yell at me. If I can't find this, we're just going to go straight over to Metatrader 4. Let's see. I know that it's here. Cisco. I apologize, folks. This is brand new for me on this platform also as far as trading Bitcoin from here. Let's just get this up in Metatrader 4. I don't want to sit here and hunt through this for the next 4 hours like we're doing a word search, because that's what it's starting to feel like we're doing. Let's go ahead and get over to Metatrader 4. Oop, get rid of that. Just a moment. And then I'll show you guys. Basically, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take the targets that I made in Smart Trader. I'm just going to place the trade real quick here in MT4. This is probably the easiest platform to actually place a trade. Bitcoin USD is on Smart Trader. I know that you can actually look at the. Wait, so you're saying that you can straight just place that from there? Let me get back over there. You guys probably can't see what I'm doing right now. ./IT. All right. So you guys should be looking at Metatrader 4 now, though. Maybe not. It just kind of disappeared for a second. You sure, Peter? I seem to have been having a very difficult time placing that trade. because it says non-tradable here. But I think that I feel like you're right. I feel like I've seen it here, but I don't see it. So I want Metatrader 4 to hurry up and load so that we can place this trade and move on. Well, Peter, it seems like you've used this before. Where is it on the list? Because that's the one thing that I'm having a hard time with, is just where it is on the list. But yeah, MT4 is up. Let's just go ahead and do that. And let's get over to Bitcoin. This is going to be in crypto, BTC USD. Get rid of this grid because I feel like it makes everything too much. Bump this thing over a little bit. Okay, and let's go ahead and open, I'll just, to show you guys how much risk is involved in each of these. This looks like we might have a little bit of a crown here, but I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going to go ahead and click buy. Okay, so I had mentioned a couple places I may reload on this thing. If you wanted to have your stop loss all the way down here below, this is a fairly, $500 risk some of you may not be interested in. So that's what this closer, nearer term trade would be all about. If you wanted to do something like that, we are looking at 48,000 above. So all I have to do is click this green line and drag it up to my price. Say 47.9, give or take, is what we were looking for. All right, so now I have a take profit set pretty far away. I'm feeling pretty cavalier about this, okay, because we are relatively close on our lower side here. This is now a $200 risk opportunity on the top side, and this is at the minimum lot size. Okay, this is a $1,000 opportunity from a 0.01. Okay, so 5 to 1 if we trade it like we do now. If this thing misses and it comes lower, I may buy limit and get in again at that lower price. Because the market's turned there a few times, why not reload city? I'm just as interested at 34,000 as I am at 37. So what is a recommended capital to operate with Bitcoin? The recommended capital for anything is to risk 1% per trade. So if you can't risk 1% with $200, which would mean something like $20,000, then you would want to either trade this on a lower time frame and take a smaller risk and look for a smaller move here. So what I mean by that, if you come down to maybe your 15-minute time frame, some people may look for a shorter term trade. You might sell this thing for, a very short period of time and have your stop loss be, $100 or whatever. We can talk more about that as we keep rolling, but generally speaking, you're not going to be able to make big position trades on things like Bitcoin or silver or any of that type of stuff. You can make the smaller moves, scalp trades. That's why a lot of new traders scalp, because you don't necessarily have to put as much money at risk when you're risking, 15 pips instead of 1,500. So, George, I hope that answers your question. Peter, oh, it's right after the pound stuff. Did you see my question videos? I did not actually. Let me pull up here. Actually, was that in? Did you email that to me, or is that something that you asked in the session here today? Oh, where do we find the videos you are referring to? Oh, okay, all of those are on YouTube, and actually on our website. If you go to 123trade.com/YouTube, and I'll send that to everybody again real quick because I know some people showed up after I sent that. So that's where they are. They're all on that page. They're also on well, they're on our YouTube channel also. If you go to YouTube and type in 123trade, all one word, you're going to find us pretty quick. Or if you type in Silver Squeeze, I think we have the number one ranked video right now for that. Can you please check Ethereum? We can come to Ethereum real quick. I think Ethereum might actually be more bullish. And let's get this out of our way. For some reason, I can't get rid of my order window. I want to get rid of that order window. There we go. Oh, hold on. One second here, folks. Got a little bit of a emergency from one of the guys on the team. Whatever. Hopefully he'll be okay. Let's see. This one's been real fun to watch. I don't know if you guys see this. Typically, a bear candle like that would be something that would make people want to run and hide from something. Okay, I mean, this is an absolutely disgusting, spinning top that we've got here on the top of Ethereum. If we come down to a lower time frame, it's still an uptrend, just so we're all on the same page. And if I pull this whole range here, just the all-time, from this low to our all-time high, we hit our 618 below. If you guys can see that almost perfectly. So when it comes to ABCD patterns, this thing might be ready to pump. And I'm excited about Ethereum. I have been for 3 years. So I'm not surprised that this is going on. I think XRP is going to be another big one. It kind of depends on how things pan out. I actually haven't been checking on XRP the last few days. We may have to get into some depth on that sometime next week. I don't know if I'm going to have enough time to give that what it needs in this presentation today. But when it comes to Ethereum, okay, what we're looking at here, do you think it's a good time to buy or wait for a lower price? Well, George, I can't give you personal advice, but what I can do is measure the chart and show you guys where the risk-reward ratios are and where I think this thing might be headed. Give me 1 second here. I'm getting a ton of messages right now. Sorry, folks. All right, so nearer term, you guys want to know about trend. Okay, that's the most important thing to understand. This is more aggressive than what we saw on Bitcoin. Just so you guys understand what I mean, more aggressive as an uptrend. I'm looking for higher lows and higher highs. And as long as those sort of things are happening, then I'm going to look for, well, the next new high. Because right now, okay, we've got another new low, okay, right there. We've got a new higher low right there. We were kind of making this upside down flag. People have a hard time when things don't look perfect, but I think this is what's happening. We've got this kind of a flag thing here. And I think this thing is about ready to bust to the north, probably right now. And I think that a lot of that has to do with, well, Ethereum is going to be popular anyways, just because it's been around for a long time. It's probably the second or third biggest brand when it comes to cryptocurrency. So I don't see any reason why it goes away. We haven't tested this pocket above. Where I really think that Ethereum is headed is all the way up here. Okay, that's 3,600. That's quite the move. We'll make that green. I'll get rid of this fib range that we no longer need. This big one that's in our way. Our current market price, I want to get a little marker for us. And let's go ahead and get a stop loss where we might put something like that. And I'll go ahead and open this thing up too. And that's a fairly large move. Risk reward looks pretty incredible to me. I'm into this type of game. So let's take a picture. Let's go ahead and show how this thing works. Cryptos, find this thing immediately in here. ETH. Ooh. Oh, wow. What's going on here? Okay. It's like hiding a lot of data from me. Let's get rid of this grid. Does the price look the same to you guys? Am I crazy? 1781 is way lower. Let me pull this back up here. This might be versus the British pound or something like that in here. That might be what that is. It's almost certainly what that is. So I may not be able to show you guys this one in here. I wonder if I can do it in. Is Ethereum in here? Those of you that have already played around with this a ton. I don't trade a lot of crypto from here. Let's see. I feel like this is another waste of time game that we're looking at here. I'm just going to go ahead and place this thing in MT4. But yeah, that is it. Ethereum. I feel like there's more cryptos than this. There's ETH. Some of this stuff changes all the time, so I apologize, folks, for not being prepared on that here today. But regardless, I'm just not going to place a trade on it because I'm getting a mixed signal from two different charts, so that feels kind of odd to me. I'm just not going to do that. But when it comes to the analysis portion of things, you guys may be looking at something else in whatever platform it is that you're looking at. I want to make sure that we're at least on the same page with that. So let me go ahead and get the charts back up. And let's take a pick and move on. Cool. And what else do we have down here that we haven't looked at yet? I think this pound CAD buy we're kind of in the mud on. I think the pound is about ready to make a move, but the pound CAD is probably not where it's going to do it the most, because I do think that there is going to be strength in the CAD. Although, hey, it does look like we're going sideways. This thing wants to do what we want. It wasn't able to break the low. We are getting higher highs and higher lows here. I'm going to leave that as is. See you later. Might as well let it play out. Does anybody have a specific Forex pair that they would like to look at today before we leave the room? EUR GBP, we've been in this one for, I want to say a few days, maybe a couple of weeks now. And everybody and their mother was long on this one. Everybody. I think I think something like 70 or 80% of traders were long on this when we decided to start selling it, which I take a lot of pride in. I'm a rebel. So I'm going to let it go. And this looks perfect. If you haven't already gotten into this, it looks great right now. We've got a dark cloud cover that just formed with yesterday's candle close. I think this thing has a lot of room to come down. I'm going to go ahead and draw these lines so you can see these more clearly. You guys can have a little bit better idea of where this trade is, where it might go. I could share this with everybody also again, because it hasn't really moved from where we entered. Well, we are up a little bit, but not a ton. But here's our blue price. Okay, and this one's real easy to place from here. Okay, I'm already in it at almost exactly the same price. But if you wanted to open this trade, this is, I'll explain a little bit of equity management here, okay, because this is important. We don't need all of these widgets, actually. Let's just get this. There we go. So a lot of people are going to trade. They're going to look for 2-to-1 opportunities. Your win rate's going to be lower. Not everybody has the stones for something like that. But your win rate is going to go down as you look for greater risk-reward ratios. Okay, so that's not necessarily a bad thing. Okay, but you do need to pay attention to how much money each of your decisions is worth. Okay, how much money do I make? How much money do I lose is really the most important thing. I need to know how much money I could lose by making a decision right here, right now. Okay, so let's measure how many pips first. And to my stop loss, I've got 162 pips. Okay, so if I go ahead and type in my stop here, 162. Okay, now I need to figure out what lot size do I put here. You don't like the margin on this pair? Yeah, there is higher margin on this pair, but there is greater value in the pips. The pips are actually, I think, worth, well, on a micro lot, they're 12 cents a pip. On a standard lot, they're $12 a pip. The rest of them are, either $8 or $10 a pip. So yeah, you have to pay more money to get into it, but when it moves, you actually get paid more for the movement. So all this stuff is going to be relative. A lot of people don't really get a good look at stuff like that, or it takes a while to figure it out because they don't come out and tell you. But we are getting confirmation this thing's coming down right now too, just so you guys are on the same page with this trend line I just noticed. It caught my eye. But that is a counter trend line break, and I think this thing's ready to rock. Yeah, no, they definitely don't tell you that, David. Everybody tells you that, a standard lot's $10 a pip, but it's not. Spoiler alert. Okay, so 162. Okay, let's get back to this. Okay, 162 pips at risk. Okay, I'll go ahead and measure the profit limit down here below just so we can see what our ratio is. 230. Okay, so not bad. Not incredible, but not bad. I could always reload on this thing if it comes against me. I might try to get in again up here, something like that too, if it does that, because that's a better trade than the one I'm already in. But that said, I'm only going to talk about this one trade for right now. 162 pips at risk. and I need to know how much money I'm going to risk. A 0.01, I'll use easy numbers. Okay, so if I have a 0.01 there, I need to multiply that number by 10. That's going to give me a 0.1. Okay, so 0.1 is 10%. So 10% of 162 pips is about $16.20, give or take. Might actually be on this pair, might be about $17 or $18, something like that. Okay, so if I want to trade and I want to risk a multiple of that number, if I want to risk $50, then I want to risk 3 times that. There's a 0.03. Now I'm going to risk something like $51 on this trade. And I'm going to try to make, I don't know, whatever 3 times 23 is. $70. Okay, so there is a lot of things that you can look at with trading. There's a ton of strategies. We come out with 30 of them a year. Okay, but the most important thing that I'm ever going to tell you is that you need to figure out how much your decisions are worth to you. Okay, because this decision may mean more to me than it means to you, or less. So you need to understand that if you are going to place a trade, what is your brain going to do if you lose immediately? You need to understand how that is going to affect your emotions. Because, yeah, it'd be really cool if I won. I'd double my account this week. That's usually a good thought that you have right before you blow yourself out. Okay, so now that we've been through all that, I'm going to go ahead and click on sell. Okay, this is a $50 risk, $70 opportunity. We're already in it. I got a smaller one, so if this thing gets in profit, we get halfway there, I may close out part of my profit on the way and then move on with my life and let it hit the target later in the other trade. There's a lot of different ways that you can go about this. Okay, the truth is that there's no exact science to this. The one thing that I would say you never want to waver from is how much your decisions are worth to you. Okay, that is the one thing that I never really want to play with. Okay, so let's go ahead and check out a couple more. Let's check out this pound New Zealand. I think that one's going to be a good one also. I'm bullish on the pound. As you guys can see here, it looks like we missed our pending order that I wanted on this pound. You go ahead and actually dump that. Pound New Zealand, goodbye. That pending order is never going to happen, so, well, it might, it's just not anytime soon from the look of it, so we might as well get it out of our way. Looks like a lot of people want NZD pairs, that type of stuff. We can get a couple, we can knock a few of these out in a hurry. And fun tool, actually, we recommend this one. I think this is probably one of the most unsung heroes. The Smart Analytics tool does a lot of work really fast, so if I want to scan all the trend lines, there's another video on this specifically that's on our YouTube channel as well. But if you want to scan everything, okay, and this is a premium tool, okay, it'll scan all the Fibonacci levels, and if we come to a lower time frame, we'll probably get a little bit better picture of what's been going on. Okay, so we can case out a couple of trades really quickly by doing things like this. We got a really big bullish move that's happening right now. We're a breakout city real soon. Okay, this thing's already broken out of this 4-hour zone. It's telling me that my overall target is up top. So I may rip the tape on life up here somewhere around 2, which is 230 pips away from where we are now. I'll make that red, or green, excuse me. And right now, current price, important to know. I always draw the current market price just because it's a point of reference, and I need to know what my risk-reward ratio is, see if it makes sense for me to get into a trade. Okay, so now all I have to do, I already know where the ranges are, all that type of stuff. So I'm looking bullish on this thing. I have been and will be for a long time. If you guys aren't familiar with the Bank of England's asset purchasing facility, I think we can look that up real quick. Asset purchase facility is what it's called. And basically this is how much of their own bonds that they plan to buy at any given time. This is like a I don't know, a company buying their own stock. That's what this is. Okay, so I think that you can probably get it directly from them. Yeah, I don't care. I'm okay with all the cookies. I just want to show people your dirt. Okay, so corporate bond purchase scheme. They make it really difficult for you to tell that they're ramping this up a lot. They're ramping this up a ton. Okay, these numbers are billions. Okay, so they're ramping up purchases here. So you should be very much, well, if they're buying their own stock, you should probably buy it with them. So that's the way I see it, at least. I mean, you guys do whatever you want, but I know if that they are trying to drive the price up, then I should probably be on their team. And, you know, maybe this is a high price right now. We are breaking out. This is what is called a breakout. We literally are witnessing a breakout right now. Okay, so we are there. So I'm going to go ahead and Rip City. I'm going to jump in this thing. I may actually even be a little bit more cavalier on the risk side of things and pull up a little bit closer. Okay, I'll show you guys how to place this trade real quick. Spread this out here. And let's go ahead and figure out our risk reward. First thing is measure my risk, 182 pips on the bottom. So this is roughly, $15 risk. I would say something like that on this pair from a 0.01. Okay, so this 0.03 up here, I have a, $45 risk. If I want to double that, risk of $90 on this trade. The opportunity on the top side is bigger, which is typically what you want. Okay, 260 pips on the top side. And now I'll go ahead and click buy. Okie dokie. We're in like Flynn. But I'm bullish on the pound, and I will continue to be as long as their bank continues to buy their own stuff. I think that's a big deal. Did you get taken out of your pound CAD trade? No, Sam, we're far away from the pound CAD trade getting taken out. We are quite far away from that, actually. I think we can come back and look at it real quick. Yeah, pound CAD, we're still in a buy. Down 123 pips. Life goes on. We're still within our plan on that one. Otherwise, we would be closed out. But yes, let's there's a couple other pairs you guys are looking for. Euro yen, I haven't looked at that one for a few days. Let's go ahead and check it out. I love smart analytics, by the way, if you guys haven't picked up on it yet. We spent so much time developing this. I think that there's not enough people using it. We spent 2 years building this tool. I think it's amazing. Okay, this euro yen seems to be a climber. So right now, I mean, if you're looking, well, let's just say if I'm bull pound, I'm probably bull euro also, because those correlate very heavily. So now what we're looking at, okay, I'm just going to follow this uptrend because the trend is the trend until it's not. Okay, here's our existing range that we're in. Let's get a blue line here on our existing current market price. Okay, and let's get a green line on our extension level where we may rip the tape on life and win this trade. You know, things go our way. Okay, this thing could come down a little bit lower. I think there's actually a slightly better entry point, if we are a little bit more patient here, because I think this thing does come down to our if it doesn't come down to our 618, then I won't get in. But I think we've got a little bit better risk reward available right there. I want to be as conservative as possible. This risk reward looks awesome if it does come in and put us in this position. I would love to be in this trade. So let's go ahead and set it up, pending. Okay, so price I would be looking to enter, 132.2. And let's see, stop loss, 130.849. And my limit, hold on a second here. Oh no, I didn't need to make sure. I made a mistake. Pending buy, because I need to fix that. Otherwise, you'll get that red box that I just got there. 135.982. All right, so 135 pips at risk for a 378 pip opportunity. Looks pretty sexy to me. That's kind of what I'm into as far as risk reward ratio goes. It looks pretty amazing. We could actually be less cavalier about this and try to hit. Maybe it digs lower. We could still get 2-1 there. Can't go broke taking a profit. I'm good with that. We're more likely to win this trade than this one. Some people will sit in the longer term one. Some people won't. Up to you. I think either one of these price targets is solid. I'm going to leave mine as is. I'm going to go ahead and click on place. And now if the market falls into my trap, I hope that it bounces out of it quickly. Okay, so nothing left to be done here. If we want to go ahead and check out, let's see, NZD CAD was another big. And let's turn off the smart analytics game. Let's get a full chart analysis on this NZD CAD. I think this one's, well, it's been hot, to say the least. This used to actually be one of my favorites to trade. I feel like I used to trade this a heck of a lot more than I have lately. But this is a fun one for a couple of different reasons, okay? We had this trend for a long time. You guys can see that pretty clear cut. We broke out below it. We've got resistance levels that have occurred on the other side of this line already, trying to keep us from going higher again. Okay, so what I'm talking about are these on the right side of the trend line over here. We had resistance. Okay, we've got a new trend line on the top side. Okay, this is our new trend on the top side. Okay, so we were in this, channel over here for quite some time. And now it seems like the market is making a turn, and it's going to go and move its way into something like this. Okay? So I think that we've made somewhat of a turn towards the south on this. I don't think, I know we have. I'm looking at it. We've been following for the last 4 months. Okay? So I think that we are making this long-term move down, but I also think this is one of the most sideways pairs in the history of trading. This thing moves like a snail. Okay? So, yeah, I can show the smart analytics thing again here in a second. I just want to get some long-term analysis. I'm on the monthly now. I'm going to come down to the week. Okay, now that I've got a narrative for myself, and I think that this is a long-term downtrend, I don't need all this other stuff in my way. I'm just going to get rid of it, and I'm going to look for a pattern, okay? And fun part about this game is that I just got to figure out where the counter breaks are. If I think that this is a downtrend, I'm going to look for uptrend lines and figure out where I may be able to get in. And those happen a lot. There's a lot of them. Okay, so all of these were decent times where I may want to get in and start selling. Okay, still seems to be the case. I think that we continue to move our way downward. Here's our ABCD tool. We hit our green level up top. Our extension level that I would expect from our weekly time frame that we're looking at here would be our green level below. Okay, so this thing's very rarely going to hit a red level. At least in my experience. It likes to stop at those green and blue levels all the time because this thing moves slow. It is a snail. That price I'm aiming at right now, that green level there, here's where it was significant in 2012. Actually, no, excuse me. Yeah, 2012. Here's where it was significant in 2011. Here's where it was significant in 2011 again. Again in 2010, 2010, 2008, and back here in 2007. So, the market likes that price. So I think that we come down and smash it with a hammer. So I think that that's coming. There's lots of opportunity on the downstroke. I'll go ahead and get on to a lower time frame. Let's check out our daily, work our way down. Okay, so what we're looking at here, okay, and this is something that I may once again look for, an automation to run, because I think this is a good one. We're looking for 700 pips on this one. This is a fairly big opportunity. Just to show you guys what I'm measuring here. There's our current market price. Actually, let's get rid of the lock tool. Make this blue. Okay, so our distance from current price to down here below is 891 pips. That's a huge move. Sounds like fun to me, and sounds like something that I may want to enter several times. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on a robot, and I'm going to use the Right Trader Max because I like this one. This is probably Gary Fickhart's favorite. This is a Gary Fickhart Chris Pulver tool that I just turned on here. I want it to look for sells only. Risk percent, max trades 3. Sounds great. Let's rock. Okay. If you guys want to know where I may enter something like this manually, okay, there's a lot of different opportunities you might look for here. The big trade, if you're looking for the absolute swing, and this is something that, well, you can either trade it smaller depending on the size of your account, or you can trade it closer. That's really the two options you have depending on your account. Do I trade with the grid trader? I do like the grid trader is awesome. Okay, a lot of people, that one's brand new. Not a lot of people have it, so I don't show that one as much. But I do very much like the grid trader. I like the matrix tool when we came out with it a few years ago. That's really kind of an advanced, way of applying the grid that, well, most people didn't use that tool properly, so we added more automation to it. When I say properly, the way that we intended it to be used. So however you want to take that. But I'm going to go ahead and take a picture of our setup here on the NZD CAD, our opportunity, potential opportunity here. Okay, so this is a relatively, big move that could happen. I want this thing to ride for a long time. That's funny, George. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. This thing's going to go sideways a ton. That's the cool part about the grid, is that if the market goes sideways or it goes your trend direction, then usually you're going to be in pretty decent shape. If the market goes sideways, then that's exactly what the grid was intended for. And that's really 2 out of 3 things that the market does. It either goes up, down, or sideways. So the matrix tool kind of covers 2 out of 3, and you don't actually have to be as good at figuring out trend direction. So that's why I really like the grid in general. But I'm going to let this one ride. Let's take a picture of this NZD. And I think that there was a CHF JPY. We can check that out real quick before we get out of here. Yeah, the Aussie CAD's probably doing almost exactly the same. Actually, I don't want to stop that script, so let's actually get a new window here. New chart. And Aussie CAD. Yeah, like I said, probably doing the same thing. Actually, we were going to CHF JPY. And let's get there. Here we go. Oh, wow. This looks like a nice high price. Let's go to the all-time frame, figure out what's going on. And crunch this thing down a little bit. Okay, let's get our eyeballs on all-time trend. Okay, that's the top line we've got here, so very much bullish. Okay, this is our outside line here. And I'm drawing the lines where the market, gets a divorce and goes away for 10 years. That's what I want on this time frame. And that's really what we're looking at, is this big upward move. This could come very high, especially if oil continues to climb, because I don't know if you guys noticed, Japan is an island. And if they want to import or export anything, then they've got to buy gas. So that's important. We've also got a pattern here on the inside, okay, where we're going to look for counter trends. Okay, there's one there. Okay, that one happened years ago. That's the world's biggest 1, 2, 3 pattern that I've ever seen. Okay, here's a new, more recent one. Kind of the same deal. We could go on an equally large run. I don't know if you guys realize that, we're basically we're a few months after, where the market was when that happened. Okay, so, because we just tested this trend recently here. So this last run went for, 5,845 pips. Okay, this one, okay, we're at 1,500 pips. We could have 4,000 more pips just on this move. Okay, which sounds crazy. You guys might think I'm a jerk. There's no way this thing moves up another 4,000 pips. And maybe you're right. Maybe you're not. Who knows? We'll find out when things happen. Okay, let's get down to the weekly time frame, figure out if there's a way we can manage our risk. That's the important thing, okay, is that we can manage our risk. So now that we're down here to our lower time frame, I'm going to get an inner trend line on this, okay, because I want to know what the nearer term is actually doing. And this is from, May to today, and we're above that line. So that's the buy zone for those of you guys that aren't aware how trend lines work. If we haven't broken the trend, we're not on the right side of it, I don't want to start expecting a change in direction. Okay, so maybe this thing comes down a little bit, maybe it doesn't. Let's get a smart fib on here. And this has been kind of sideways, so we're going to get a new one. There we go. We haven't hit our extension yet. That might be at a slightly higher price here. That might be the place for this thing to take a little bit of a break. I don't think it's a buy or a sell right now, but let's get down to our day chart. I want to judge it too soon. And actually, let's clear all this stuff out, because I don't need all that stuff anymore. And let's get a fresh fib on here, because I got a couple at the wrong candle. There we go. And this actually looks a little bit more like a breakout. This actually might be a little bit more fun than I initially anticipated. And let's look at the 4-hour time frame as well. The 4-hour, daily, weekly, those are my favorites. Okay, that's the meat of where I'm going to make my decisions pretty much every time. Let's clear this out. Ooh. But we did break out on our daily. Let's see where we are on our most recent wave with our 4-hour. And looks like the daily might be where it's at for this currency pair, because I can't seem to get the whole wave anywhere. Ooh. There's part of me that wants to just pull this manually. There we go. There's our 4-hour most recent wave. And I don't know, this thing looks like it kind of needs a break, but I don't know. I'm kind of scared of this one in the near term as far as it going straight up. But, you know, that said, let's get back to our day. Let's talk about managing risk. There's no reason to be afraid. Okay, so everybody's thinking this is a high price, and maybe it is. Okay, maybe it is. I don't necessarily. I can check my work later with the robot if I want to, or I can just pump down to my, say, 30-minute time frame. And I can look for something that's a little bit easier to stomach when it comes to a decision. This has been an uptrend. So our most recent AB boundary that exists, just to draw this for you guys, here's our most recent high-low that we're living inside of right now. We hit that 382. My entry point, my strategy on this one might just be to be a little bit more conservative and try to enter where I'm going to throw this blue line at the 618. Because that was a very popular price. We may be on the way towards it right now. There's our blue line. And let's go ahead and get our green line where we may rip the tape on life. Okay, above. Okay, so great risk reward on this opportunity. You could actually be a little bit more careful with the stop loss if you wanted to be, because, well, it really stinks to have the market go a little bit further than your stop loss and then go the right way. But we are out of time here, folks. Thanks everybody for joining. If you are looking for more information about all this type of stuff, then by all means go to our website, 123trade.com. Okay, there's a lot of resources on our website. There's a ton on the YouTube channel. If you haven't joined the Facebook group or the Discord server, then you should. You're missing out on a lot of good information. The pictures of the trades that we took here today, all that stuff I'm going to post there. Hopefully I'll be able to get an email with all of this information out soon. But those of you that are looking to reload your accounts, do anything like that, there are bonuses available, stuff you can get for free, people, okay, on this premium page. Okay, so if you have questions about that, send us an email to brokers@123trade.com and we'll help you out. But otherwise, thanks everybody for turning out. I love doing these presentations. I look forward to seeing everybody next week. You guys have a good weekend. Be good, or be good at it. Take care, folks.